This is Crew Tales, Life in the Circus. In the motion picture world, there are an army of dedicated professionals who work behind the scenes to make the movies and shows we watch today. I'm Brad Hodson, and I've spent over 30 years in the motion picture industry. This podcast celebrates the people who make the magic behind the scenes.
Jim Rowe, man of many hats, executive producer. In your words, what do you do?
What do I do? I'm if you're and someone asked me this question yesterday outside the film business, and you often hear people speak of the fact and say, what's the hardest part about directing? And they say, well, the best part about directing is casting. So if you hire a good cast, it's easy as a director. What I do, my job is to hire the best people available, and I get them to come work for me. And if I go on a set and we actually talk about a film, then we're not doing our jobs. Everybody should know what they're doing. And we have those meetings up front and we do it. And I give them, I have security with the unions, I have security with suppliers at the studios, facilities, the people that pay the studios that pay my rent. And I just kind of keep my stick on the ice and put the puck in the net.
So you're one of the first people to be brought onto a project, right?
I'm the first.
Fair
no, that's not. The movies get packaged in wherever they come from, but I do. They'll call me and say, "Hey, are you available?" Even if I'm not available, I still, being a senior, 61, started when I was 19. Being a senior guy in the film business, I have a lot of connections, and people look to me like, "Hey, I'm going to go to Vancouver. Jim Rowe, I'm not available, but I can help you out." Because I know lots of people.
40 plus years, you say?
41.
Wow.
42. I started 19. I got a job as a security guard on a film set.
Well, let's go there. Tell us your beginnings and how your arc to get to where we are now.
Yeah, I started at 19 years old. I moved out from Ontario. I took a Greyhound bus from Ironbridge, Ontario, and I landed here. My brother was a second AD on a movie, and he got me a job as a security guard, and I worked for 65 straight days. I made $100 a day, and we're shooting down under Granville Street Bridge on the downtown side. It's all condos and everything now, but it used to be quite derelict. And I went down there as a security guard, and I would have to be there at night was the deal. And then I would fall asleep in the pickup truck at night, get up in the morning when all the workers showed up, all the set dressing and lighting and everything, all the guys showed up, construction. And then I would go home and have a shower. And then I'd come back and I'd just stay on set for the last 5-6 hours of work that they were at. And I would just help and do everything. And that's when the old days, there was no Grip Electric company up here. You would bring up the Grip Electric trucks from Los Angeles, and they would travel with the guy running the truck. You had to bring an American gaffer, American best boy, and American Jenny op, and then the rest of the Canadian would fill out the crew. And so we did that. So that's how I started. And then I got a job as assistant executive producer through a friend of mine, Les Kimber, God bless his soul. He from Alberta. And he got me a job as assistant executive producer on a show called The Hitchhiker. And the guy who hired me was a guy by the name of Riff Markowitz, father of David Markowitz, who you know.
Yep.
And then he had me, and then I went from there, and I jumped from that, and I went right to third AD, and I worked on a show called Stingray, and for Stephen J. Cannell. And then I did that, and then just stayed in the AD department, second AD, first AD, and then production manager. And I converted to production managing for a long time, but I was never getting the jobs. And then one day I had an epiphany that I was too worried about what everybody else had in their bowl, and I wasn't paying attention to me and me being better and smarter at what I'm doing. And once I kind of came to that, I was like, oh shit, why am I worried about, why did she get the job? Why did he get the job? I should have got that job. I have more experience. The crew likes me more. And when I put all that away, then I ended up, that's when I got my first break as a production manager on a feature film. And it was for a thing called Valentine. And I did that. And then I stayed at Warner Brothers. I was at Warner Brothers for almost 20 years, and then left there, and then it went to Disney and Apple, Fox after that. So, and what do? I don't know. I just like to help filmmakers make films. And it's not all esoteric and weird and like I'm rolling around in olive oil and sitting there like writing words and doing poetry.
Right.
But I just like good feel like what I'm doing now is Percy Jackson, and the director of so we're on season 3. So the first season 1, you do 2 episodes. They call them a block of 8. And James Bobin is the director. And then season 2, James Bobin again is doing the first and second episode. In season 3, James Bobin's directing the first 2 episodes. And James Bobin he's a great guy. He's a wonderful guy, a good guy to be around. But he's tough. Like he's tough. Like you have to help filmmakers make the films that everyone has to hit a number, right? You have to make the money. And the studios know, you have basic scale rates for grip electric camera, makeup, hair, wardrobe, ADs, all that, Teamsters. And then you have a little bit over, and then you just surround yourself with really good people, and do that. So James Bobin, going back to that, is he's tough only in the sense that he's a gifted writer. He did Borat, he did Flight of the Conchords, he did all that quirky stuff. And but when it comes to making a film where you put the camera down and what he wants to do, like he wants to do it. And he wants to do it his way. And I have to go around sometimes and, use an example of one of the scenes that we did on season 1. We had this Capture the Flag event, and we saw this location up in the Chicamas River. And we had to build a bridge over the creek or river, I guess. But it was, it's a runoff in the spring, right? So we had to build a bridge, and we had to go from one side to the other. Well, on one side was the Squamish municipality where you put the bridge in, and then when you took the bridge over, it landed on the Squamish Nation, and then you had to put anything that went over that had to go through the fisheries department, and it just was like, and so we had to have 300 extras down there, and I walked it up and down covered in brambles and blackberries and had to build we estimated to be about 30,000 sandbags, and we were going to have to build a road that we could just take the sandbags out at the end. We weren't going to plow the road or anything. We just put the stuff on top of the blackberries. We made a road and we had everything done. But the thing I couldn't do is I couldn't connect the one bridge to the other side of the bridge. And I went to James and I took him up there and I said, okay, here's what we're doing. This is the thing. I know how to do it. We're building a road. This is a thing. This is how much it's going to cost. It's all this stuff. But James, I can't give it to you. Like, what? He said, I can't get that side of the river and that side of the river to connect. I know how to do it. I can do it. It's easy. I just put 30,000 sandbags down and, build all this stuff and put cable cams in and have to put in the techno crane, have to take the techno crane apart, put it in pieces and put it on an island and do all that stuff. I could physically do it, but we couldn't get permission. So I had to follow that through for James to understand that I was on his side. I wanted to do it. I just physically couldn't do it.
So a lot of what you do is problem solving, or in this case, giving the bad news, but you find a way of getting things done under the restraints of budget and creative time.
Yeah, and you have to do it. I mean, we all sing from the same hymnal, right? It's all the script, right? So you can have one script and 10 different directors and you'll have 10 different movies, right? So what I do for physical production is I just get into, shout out to Dan Schatz, the Michigas of the details of how it is we're going to do it. And sometimes I've said this many times, sometimes they don't pay me for what I know. They pay me for things I've fucked up before, and I don't want to do that again.
That's a good, fair enough. On that note, what are some of your favorite parts of the job? And subsequently, what are some of your least favorite parts of the job?
My favorite parts is breakfast at the catering truck. Once I go in on set and make sure everything's okay, then I get to go spend time with the caterers and hang out and have food. It's just the interaction. It's just the interaction with people. And when you look at, so when we're at Mammoth, you've been to Mammoth.
Yep.
So my offices are at Mammoth, and I was away for quite a few years. I hadn't made a movie in Vancouver in a long time, and I went to Mammoth. I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And there was Shogun was shooting down below us. And I was so excited by it. I was like, oh my God, it's here. And I realized if they don't have gray hair, I don't know them. So that's what it was. And so then reconnecting with all the people that are back, I don't know a lot of the younger staff. I just don't, I know you,
Yeah.
right? And
I'm great.
and I haven't worked with you for a million years, but but we're all connected. Once we work together once, we're together all the time. So, and I'm recognizing new talent and trying to get people going and stuff. But that's probably one of my favorite parts of the job is just interacting with people and just providing leadership, because, just because your name says production manager, production associate, production executive producer, line producer, whatever that is, you can't, the end of the root word is producing or production, and you have to do what you do. And your leadership is required right at the very beginning. And it's like, I'm always, whenever we do big, I don't need to be there for 3 actors in a room for 4 days, right? But if we do a stunt or something, I'm always there. I'm always there, and I'll be one of after the stunts happen, everything's cleared, and the guys go in, stunt coordinator goes in, safety goes in, everything. I'll always be the first person in there just to make sure that they're okay, because, it's not an exact science, this stunt business.
Right.
And movie making. So I just like to be present. Again, like I say, just they're not paying me for what I know. They pay me for what I know I fucked up, and I don't want to do that again.
Fair enough. Over the years, you've been doing it for over 40 years. How have you seen the industry change, good, bad, and otherwise?
The industry, it's still just a bunch of mo's with a camera. It really is. You can make it all. I mean, Batman, at one time, Justice League was one of the biggest movies ever produced. We were hundreds of millions of dollars for budget. But at the end of the day, it's just really a bunch of mo's standing around a camera and getting drive-bys with cars or whatever, something exploding. It's not really complicated. Has it gotten more complicated with, visual effects and stuff? It is what it is. It's everything's gotten. But also, I used to do Neon Rider, right?
Yep.
And Danny Virtue, my friend, it took a chance on me. I was a just up and coming second AD, and he converted me to a first AD on Neon Rider after this first season. And you just kind of came up through that. So what are my favorite parts? Just the people. It's the people.
Yeah.
And also, and there's lots of my friends and people I've worked with that are fucking knobs, but they're not to me. They're just like, oh yeah, that bitch, she is like, hair looks good. What do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Everything's okay.
Fair enough.
Actors aren't complaining. No one's complaining. And yeah, she may be grumpy pants, or he may be grumpy pants, or,
Job gets done.
Yeah. And also, just one of my greatest things I love to do is to fuck with the director of photography.
We'll expound on that a little bit.
Just because they're so precious. At the end of the day, it's a camera, dude. It's a camera. And I want to shoot 65 millimeter underwater. It's going to be great. I want to do it. I'm going like, dude, kids are watching on their fucking phone. They don't care if it's 65. They don't care about anything. They're watching on their phone. They just want to tell the story. So that's what I like.
That's part of what's changed a lot too. When I started out wanting to be a director, directors of photography and directors were kind of on the hallowed ground. Shooting film, the parameters are a little different. One of the changes I've seen over the years in camera department is we've gone from film to digital. The cameras are so much more forgiving that a kid can shoot their movie on an iPhone and it still looks good.
Yeah, that's it. I'm still waiting to see the big payoff when everyone was jerking me off talking about, when we get away from film, we go to digital. You'll cut the lighting package in half. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but it's only been 20 plus years.
Yeah.
They just don't. It's like you still have the same amount of gear. You still got, 18Ks, 20Ks, green screens, blue screens, and the digital. The one thing I would say now that we kind of broached it, what do I see different? I find right now that there is, with the digital medium, about how it physically interacts on the floor, is that it used to be, and you were there, it used to be, ready, here we go, scene 23, take one, clap, cut, scene 23, take two. And now they just roll all the time.
Yeah.
They just roll all the time. So everyone, myself included, I'm standing outside the fucking stage door and the light's flashing.
Yeah.
I'm going like, it's been like 10 minutes. So then people just start even ignoring that, and they're walking in and out of the stage because it takes. So because the directors just keep resetting.
Yeah.
No, do that again, do that again, do that again. So I think that is the thing that I find is really, and I'm a big advocate for it, but I just find that there's a part of the industry, the respect to the process, right? If you have the respect for the process, the director can actually go in, speak with the actors. The director can go in and talk to the camera operator and take that time. But right now, it's just like, turn it on. You might as well fucking record the whole thing on one of your doorbell apps.
Yep.
Right, on Chime, because it's on 24/7. The cameras are.
Yep. You make a good point, Jim. As a Steadicam operator, I see that digitally, they'll sometimes just reset. And when you're holding a rig and you're doing a long take, you need a moment to kind of reset. But if it's just like, we're not cutting, we're just going to do this again, no rehearsals and no respect to the art, even to the point where sometimes directors are directing from a tent 30 feet away and yelling at the actors to do this again. When I started out, everyone was standing by the camera and doing all their work. So you make a good point there that the process has changed a bit. It's still handmade, but it's maybe respect to the art is what you're bringing up.
Yeah, it's not even to the artist. It's just to the medium, right? Yeah, like there's like, it sounds, oh, it's great, it's rock and roll. Put a handheld. We just got to swirl around. No rehearsals. Don't look over there. You'll see the 12 gauge. Oh, we'll paint them out in post, and you know what I mean. All that stuff. All that stuff just is kind of like missing. And I'm very, very vocal, even on my sets. Like if we're not like if they don't cut and just reset, I kind of speak up, and I just don't want around it. You just need to have it. There has to be. You don't run from crew call to wrap. You have to be. You walk and you just do it properly. What is the old saying about the old bull and the young bull on the hill? And the young bull looks at the old bull and says, "Hey, why don't we go down to that field and pluck some of them cows?" And he goes, "Why don't we walk down and fuck them all?"
That'll make the call sheet. And that comes from your AD experience, because you as an AD, you had a schedule that you probably designed or had a good part of it, and you see how much time you have to do each piece. If it's all one string, it's going to be impossible to keep things on.
The thing about it is that people often ask me about, because I produced a lot of really big movies, and you don't shoot the entire movie on the first day. You don't prep the entire movie on the first day of prep, right? Yeah, it's a process to get through. What seems to consistently happen is the third act in the script, the ending seems to be the last thing that kind of gets focused on. And so you're always like pawing at that ground, trying to get, what's happening in the third act to make it happen. But at the end of the day, we didn't shoot the third act on the first day. What I would do with Zach, who I did Watchmen and Sucker Punch and Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman and Justice League, is that I would always make Zach shoot a big sequence right off the top. And I would just say, let's do it, because that is going to be the best prep sequence you shoot. So everyone's like, oh, let's just do a bunch of in the stage, and we'll get some stuff, and then everyone will get to know each other and huggy wuggy, snuggly wuggly. And I can fuck that. They're all film professionals. Get out there. Let's do a big sequence right off the top. And also, I get it into the digital pipeline sooner. Right. So they have more time with it on post rather than waiting till the end. And next thing you know, they're doing 700 visual effects shots. Near the end. I'd rather do them at the beginning and then gear down and then do a bunch of dialogue and then go back to another action sequence, do that, and then go back into dialogue and then another action sequence at the end.
Right.
But it was all been it's all very, it's making the film helping make the film make sense
Right.
because it's complicated.
Yeah.
But you just take it. It's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a
Yeah.
time.
And it's a work in progress too, because as you shoot one section, it'll affect how another section could possibly turn out, or needs to be either rewritten or reshot or shot differently.
Yeah, and then sometimes you just have to. And as much as I hate to say it, but sometimes you have to let things fuck up to fix them. You're just like, this is like, guys, this is a bad idea contest. No, we really gotta get it. I said, okay, I was just telling you, it's a bad idea contest. We'll wrap on the first day, and the director will look at me and go like, you were right on that one. That was a bad idea. I went, just saying, let's go fix it and figure it out.
Jim, what's one of your favorite projects you've worked on?
Hot Rod.
And why is that?
It was fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, because we had Andy Samberg and Jorma and Bill Hader and Danny. Name escapes me. Anyways, yeah, it was just a fun summer movie. What are my favorite movies? Anything I did with Zach. Zach and I just had a shorthand. We just had a shorthand. We'd made some big movies, and we traveled all over the world. I've stood with him on the mountaintops in Iceland to deserts in Morocco, like everything we've done together. It was anything to do with Zach, because he was like full on pulling. Give an example. So we're shooting in London, and we're shooting downtown London in the UK, and there's this one bit. The street's all good, but there's this one business owner that's being an absolute fucking knob, and I was just like, okay, Zach, yeah. I said, okay. So we're standing in the street. He closes his eyes. Okay, yeah. So there's a building on the left. Yeah. I said, okay, pan right. You don't see that building anymore. He goes, yeah, why? And I said, because those guys they're fucking trying to rob us. And he would be like, yeah, well, just pan right. I don't need to see that building. And I just go, location guys, shut it down. I don't need them. Just make sure that we have the sidewalk out in front. I don't need them. So yeah, so Zach's fun movies. Yeah, they're, and I had a really good time on C, which I did. I took it over in season 1. Then I did season 2 in Vancouver. I took it over, and then I did season 2 and 3 in Toronto. And that was kind of like unsupervised adults having fun. Jonathan, the writer, Jonathan Tropper, who wrote it, he was a really good writer, and we just went in, and that was during COVID. So we were shooting during COVID, and then we pulled up stakes and bolted. I came back to Vancouver, and everyone just scattered. And then eventually we came back and we brought the show back up. But during that time, I had convinced the studio to just give me one of the directors, a guy by the name of Anders Engström, Finnish guy, lives in Stockholm. He's working on Star Wars right now, the next Star Wars. And I could convince the studio, just give me Anders. Give me Anders and a second unit director, and everybody get out of my way. I said, I'll produce the whole thing. We don't need to have rotating directors and rotating DPs and rotating everything. Just give me what I want. And the studio went back and they said, let's just do it Jim's way. And because it was COVID, nobody knew any different. So I just went back and we did it. And Anders and I shot for probably 200 days straight, like weekends off, but almost 200 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And he and I are I was on the phone with him this morning, and it was good. So yeah, so there's lots of great moments within movies. But when you ask me what my favorite movies are, I think probably now I've kind of said it wasn't really the movies, it was the people that I worked on the movies with.
Right.
Because I don't really control the narrative. I don't write it.
Yeah.
I don't do the music. Right. I don't do the editing. I just, on the boots on the ground, I prep it, I shoot it, I give it to them.
Yeah.
So my experiences are, with my residuals from the DGA, there's some movies that I was like, did I make that? Oh, right. And I get a check for $1,000. Yo, I made that movie. And so, but it's always the relationships that you have. And then those relationships have been carrying on, because what I've had, and this is my agent talking, is that I have repeat customers.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I have a lot of repeat customers, and I cherish that and I respect that. And, was I always on my game on every movie? Probably not. But we got them done.
Different set of challenges every time.
Oh yeah.
I ask this for every guest, but what are your thoughts on how AI is going to affect the industry?
Now, I'm going to take an AI course. They do a online. I saw it's for 28 days for 15 minutes. They do AI courses. We have, what's the best way to say this without fucking up my non-disclaimer? We had a character, as per the books, who was a cyclops, and and we were looking at really challenging things to do. We were limiting how many takes we could do, not takes, but how many angles and all that stuff. And then one of the vendors came back with an AI solution, and it worked. And we didn't end up in a big green screen, blue screen, all world. We just shot it like it was.
So it was constructed outside of visual effects. It was an AI generated character.
Yep.
In a sense.
Yeah. But now what happens in the studios, and I'll leave it broad as the studios, is that a lot of that they're having is a lot of stuff when you do AI, you're actually not, it's not original. It's stealing from somebody else. So when you do an AI, let's just do an example of like a dance in a high school gymnasium, right? And they would say, give me what it would look like in the background. Well, all they're doing is going through all of the stuff that other gymnasiums look like, and they come back and they give it to you. And then you have it in your film, and then people will come back later and go, well, hold on, that's art school. You have to, and they have to, and there's been a couple of real big ones where the AI generated stuff that was just not cleared. They thought it was just all original, but it's just stealing from other stuff. Now, I'm not saying it's all like that, but there are
extenuating circumstances where that happens.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
but
interesting.
Do I think it's a thing? Oh yeah. You'd be a fool not to think it's not a thing, but it's again, does it really kind of go back to what we talked about with just a bunch of dudes standing around a camera doing drive-bys?
Still handmade. Right?
It's still got to be AI ain't handmade.
Yeah.
Now there are people that probably engineer it and work for it for a living and help me do it, but it kind of dissipates the process.
Right.
Going, no more different than it is like not turning the camera off when you're sitting there holding onto the rig and you're 10 minutes into a take.
Yeah.
Right. At least before you used to have 1,000-foot mag, you just turn it off. We do 500-foot mags on the Steadicam, right?
400s.
400s. Yeah. 400.
Sometimes if you are really feeling
when
strong.
was the last time you had when was the last time you shot film?
I didn't do camera. I was doing cranes and remote heads when I shot film last, but they were still heavy rigs, right?
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough that I went, well, those cameras are getting smaller and lighter. I'm going to take a Steadicam course and I'll go that route. So I never actually done a shot in anger on my Steadicam in film.
Oh yeah. I have Stephen Mayer, who's one of my DPs for season 3. I remember Stephen and we were doing a movie in Fortress Mountain in Alberta, and Steve was the clapper loader, and I was the first AD, and we were up the side of a mountain, and he was like schlepping camera cases, 1,000-foot mags up the hill, and I was like, I would go down and help him. So I was just carrying just to get exercise, but help him out to go up and down it. And now he's and then we fell just like the film business. You just kind of everyone goes their own way. And then he came back and he came in to do second unit for me on season 2. And then he got the upgrade and is now one of the 2 DPs on the main unit. But he was just like, I just remembered him being a hard worker.
Yeah.
And so when he came to help us, when I was on the set watching him lighting and dealing with all this stuff, interacting with hair and makeup and all that stuff, but he was working hard and it never changed. And so now I'm happy to have him.
Yeah. No, his star has risen quite well, quite quickly.
Because he works hard.
Yeah. No, it's good to see.
He doesn't get involved in all the bullshit. He's not a prima donna.
Yeah.
And he's not like, where the fuck's my chair?
My coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, what advice do you have to up and comers who want to get into the industry?
What do I have for advice for young people getting in the film business? Just show up, shut the fuck up. Just show up. Like if they tell you to carry 100 sandbags, carry 100 sandbags, right? And if you see some guy beside you who was told to carry 50 whatevers and you're done and he's still struggling, then we're going to help him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so many people just sit around right now and they just like, oh, that's not my department. I don't do that. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you just have to be present. You have to be available. You have to keep your eyes open and your mouth shut, and just work around it. And remember, it's the thing about the film business is really can be intoxicating. Oh, I'm working with Brad Pitt. Oh my God, I'm such a movie star. I'm worked with, you know what I mean? That's got fuck anything.
Yeah.
You just got to show up. You just got to show up and do what your job is, and keep the puck out of your net and put the puck in the other net.
Good analogy. What other interests outside of the industry do you have?
So one of the things I'm doing is I went back to Toronto May, and I went back to interview some people, a couple of female DPs, a couple of colored ADs and stuff, because Vancouver's, I don't know if you noticed or not, look around the room here. Yeah, it seems to be a lot of white guys. So I went back there and I was interviewing people. I was going to bring them out here to work, just because it's just not diverse here. And then and so I went back there, and then I was talking to a friend of mine, G, and she worked for a charity, and they were working on diversity. And I was going like, man, dude, diversity, I'm coming back here. I'm coming to Toronto to find diversity to bring to Vancouver, right? And then they said, well, hold on. So anyways, I met with the president of this one charity, and we just sat down and we started riffing a little bit. And what we're hoping to do, now I shouldn't say we're hoping, I'm in the Jim Rowe business. What I'm doing is we're going to have, we're going to hold in September, October of this year, we're going to hold 2 days of meetings, i.e. CapU, wherever I can get a room. And we're going to do an immersive experience for kids. And it's only going to be, I'm going to have my friend Clay, I don't know if you know Clay, and he's still his photographer from New York. Anyways, we're going to do a little thing, and I'm going to have 7 people, actor, director, costume designer, production designer, first assistant director, and director of photography. And then we'll film it for a couple of weeks. We'll edit the whole thing together, and then we'll put it up, and it will be a little blip about each person, about what they bring to the table, about film. And then we'll do that, and then that'll be off the top. I'm sorry, I'm closing my eyes because I'm trying to stage it in my head. Then we'll do a little blurb at the beginning, and then we'll have each person come out. I'll have Helen Jarvis come out. I'll have Tish Monahan come out, and they will do. I'll be the moderator. I'll just sit on the thing. We'll do what they do. We'll show what they did in the background, and then they'll have them come out. And then I'll be there, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. We'll do that. We're hoping to have 60, 70 in each day. And we'll do the same thing 2 days. And then the 140 kids, if anyone's interested, I have a board which says run through a couple of friends of mine. And we'll have them go through and meet individually with each one of the kids. And if that's good, then advisory council will put it towards myself and the board. On the board, I have Pete Mitchell. I have Kendry. I have Kendry Upton. I have Danny Virtue, and I got Steve Demeter.
Oh yeah,
and they're all on the board,
right?
And so they'll come to us, and then we'll see who we want to do it, and then we will be able to provide scholarships.
So this is a mentorship for up and coming.
It's diversity, and it's up and coming. You don't have to be in the film business. Maybe you are in the film business. Maybe you're doing lighting and you want to do, who knows?
Right.
But I'll get some asses in seats, and we'll present that. That's going to be, and how this came around, lit up for me, was the East End Boys Club Society, which Danny Virtue was one of the beginning founders, and Jimmy Crescenzo, he's that runs it now. But it is, it's like an AA meeting. Yeah, we meet in the church basement, and there's 40 plus young men in there. Young women are included if they want to be there, and and Bradley, it's no different than you and I were taught. When you meet somebody, you look them in the eye and you shake their hand, and you see 42 young men, and a lot of them living below the poverty line. A lot of them don't have any kind of male influence in the house. And they come to these things, and Bradley, I'm telling you, 40 plus kids, every single one. Danny and I'll be standing outside, and every kid walks up and shakes you in the hand and looks you in the eye. Every single one of them. And then we have Danny and I we went in and sat down, and they have guest speakers all the time. One of the guys, Victor Montagliano, is East End boy, and he is the vice president of FIFA.
Right.
Yeah, and he's the president of CONCACAF, and he was instrumental in having the World Cup here.
Right.
And so he's a big time guy, but he's just like a hoser from East Van, and he just ended up in a place where there was leadership shakeup at FIFA, and he got nominated, and he ran with it. And he spends very little time in Vancouver. He travels all over the world. There's actually more countries involved in FIFA than there are in the United Nations.
Wow.
And so he does that. So that's what I'm doing outside. But it's kind of a little bit film related.
Yeah.
But it's something that it's come on to me in the last, 6 months. And it's something that I'm 61. I'll go until like they say, you don't retire from the business retires from you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep going and just keep doing what I do. And hopefully I can help with those guys.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And finally, what's next for you then?
I think Percy's going to go for a bit.
Yeah. That's award-winning, like multiple awards.
Yeah, we won an Emmy.
Hey.
I should have brought it.
Should have put it right here.
Yeah, we had an Emmy, but it's good. And it's just, and again, like I have like, if I can, you would know it. Not anyone listening would know it, but I have the best of the best, like everybody, like name it, camera, I have every single person, grip, electric, rigging electrics, effects, catering, office staff, everybody. I have the best of the best, and we provide them as a place that's fun. You have fun. If you get in trouble, it's behind closed doors, and everything shakes off. You walk away.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what's so I'm going to be able to do that. So I'll get this hockey thing going in Toronto, and then I'll just kind of go back and forth with Percy wherever it ends up. I hope it goes for a long time.
Yeah.
Because it's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the cast, the kids are really good, and the kids are really Zoe.
That's our producer saying we should wrap this up. Time to go, Dad. Well, Jim, thank you. That was brilliant. Appreciate you coming out.
That was good. It's good fun. And again, you know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, making movies and getting paid.
and getting paid.
Well, that about wraps it up for another episode of Crew Tales, Life in the Circus. I'd like to thank our producers Dustin Schwinnard and Dustin Girton, as well as our technical producer Rob Hunt. I'm Brad Hodson. Thank you for joining us.